What if Indiana Jones hunted Short Round? My name's TS and I write comics like The Digger, a 4-issue cat and mouse thriller co-created by myself and the artist Sam Gudilin and published by Invader Comics. The Digger pits a young guide against a dangerous treasure hunter in 1930s Mexico, putting a dark twist on the phrase, "it belongs in the museum." But listen, we need your help getting it into more shops, so drop by your local comic book shop today and tell them that you want the book that asks the question,
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots,
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, comic book author T.S. Luther and The Digger.
Welcome into a special edition of Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the magical man himself, Mr. Mike. I assume that's what we're doing with the
yeah. Well, I mean, you said special episode, so I figured,
Okay.
Jazz Hands or whatever that magician's name was with the big mustache. You know that guy.
Gallagher? No, sorry, you said magician. I said
sorry.
comedian. Anyway,
That's what I
we
was
are.
referring to.
We watched the whole video. We're not going to get into all the Gallagher stuff.
No.
No, we
I'm
have.
happy to debate Gallagherisms
We're not.
all day
We're
long.
not going to. We're a
so I should put the
podcast.
watermelons away. I shouldn't be getting my hammer.
I'm concerned. You leave them on our half of the screen. I don't care.
Yeah, our special guest today, comic writer T.S. Luther, who has a great project coming up, about to come out, or is issue 1 already out yet? I don't want to. It's about to. I don't want to overstep. Just
Issue 1 comes out January 14th. You can
There we
pre-order it at your local comic book shop right now.
there you go. So you have plenty of time. And what I hope to do by the end of this interview is 1, get you to absolutely fall in love with TS like I have, and 2, is to go out and get yourself a copy of this book, because I was lucky enough to read as soon as I got done with the first issue. I'm going to spoil a little bit. TS sent me the second one, and Mike, as soon as I got done with it, I wanted to email and be like, "Hey, so the 3rd and 4th, is there any way?" It's a great.
There's
book.
no way. Hold on. My publisher's going to attack me. I did not email you anything.
I'm sorry.
You found it. I have no idea what you're talking
It's
I
about.
got it
one
on
of those-
Reddit somewhere.
Right, exactly. It was pirated somewhere, and I don't know how you got your hands on it. We'll have
Sorry.
to talk about it.
I think it was
a shoe restoration Reddit where I got it.
Anyway, so the first one, but the point I want to say is The Digger that's about to come out is a great book, and I want to talk to you about that, but also I want to talk about you in general, because this isn't the first of like your comic projects, and the more that I've kind of fallen down the rabbit hole of you, there's a lot of other just great stuff. Before I get into anything, I guess the easiest or the basic question that I'm sure everybody asks is, why write comics?
Well, because comic books are awesome. Obviously, it's the easy answer. Comic books are great. It's my favorite thing. But mostly because I used to read about car parts, and I hated car parts. I hate cars. I don't have a love for them at all, but it paid for everything. And one day when COVID was hitting, I couldn't take it anymore. I got pulled in a meeting to be yelled at about making another meeting, and my kids are sitting over there, and they're so bored to tears listening to me talk about car parts again and talk about meetings. And I'm wearing my tie and my, boxers because it was COVID, so they only saw me from this high up. And I was just like, why am I doing this? This stinks. This is awful. And I looked at my stack of comics, and I just needed to do it. And I had one more terrible meeting, and I walked out the door, and I haven't looked back since. I do comics because I have to. It's the only thing that I've ever been told I'm good at. No one ever told me I was good at writing about car parts, not once. So it's just inside me, man.
No, I get that, and that's
It's so odd that car parts doesn't fulfill you. I mean, what a weird thing. I mean, what is it? Plumbing accessories? What do you need?
I do. Listen, I would have loved to write about plumbing accessories, but comic books just happened to show themselves first. So listen, if you want to come at me and talk about, O-rings or something like that, I was a plumber's apprentice when I was in high school, so I can do it.
An illustrated history of O-rings. Yeah.
Oh, we could do it. Let's talk after this.
I asked that just because I know, like, as a creative person. Yeah, as a creative person, and Mike, even though he'll argue it, at times too, there comes that time of where, in a lot of instances, of where it finally is that, I can do this. and you start doing that. And there is a fulfillment that comes from it of even when like the stuff you're making, like when I started doing this of like, it eventually grows. And when you start at first, you're doing it out of a pure love for it. And I think that helps then. And you can sense that in the products that are made. When I go back or when I read The Digger, and now I want to go back and read some of your other work before that too. Hellion and Bash is one that interests me. Like I can sense that. And I really love that. And there's not to say that you don't get that from all sorts of creatives, but it's easy to tell, like when you do something you love, like it comes through in the pages like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I hope that you feel it when you read the stuff that I do, because I do love this. And a lot of times you're going to see comic books and you're going to go, did they just phone that one in? I want you to know, almost everybody who makes comic books loves them, because there's no money here. There's no money involved, and it costs so much to make them, and it's such a labor of love across the board at every level, from indie to the highest professionals that you know. If you see people making comic books, they dig it, man, because it is expensive and it is hard, and no one's asking you to. In fact, at most levels of it, they're telling you probably shouldn't do it. It's not worth it. Hang up your hat, kid. You're not going to make it. So yes, I hope the love comes through. And that was the addictive part. When I made one, I was working, writing about car parts, and it was awful and I hated it. And I made a comic book and I felt love and pride for the first time in what I was doing. And not a single soul bought a copy, but it was scary because I knew that I wanted something finally, because I was a dad and I was a husband, and that was the only reason why I had a job. I didn't care. If it wasn't for my wife and kids, I'd be playing Magic the Gathering in a hovel somewhere. I didn't need a lot of other stuff, but they need shoes. They eat every day. I don't know why they do that, but they do it, and you got to keep feeding them. So I had the day job, and when I made Growing Up, that was the name of my first little anthology I published, I was so scared because for the first time in my career, I wanted something, and I still do. If you see anything, it's that I want this really, really bad. And I love making it. It's such a blast. And now I've been fortunate enough to start working with publishers and amazing artists like Sam Gudilin. And I can't believe I've made it this far, but I don't take it for granted. And I'm so thankful that someone like you would want to talk to me, let alone read some of my other comic books, which I'll send them to you, by the way. Just ask. I got tons of stuff.
I'm here for all
of the same subreddit. It's fine. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I'm here for all of it, and I just want to bring it up a little bit while we talk about it. The Digger that you brought up, Sam Gudilin there too. I know it is, and so out of the two of us, I am, I guess, more of the writer. I've written things for, not necessarily. I'd always love. Eventually, I'll be able to sit down and put something in script form, I hope, and be able to do as well as you do of writing, it out. And it's different, obviously, for writing for the page than it is for writing and everything else. And I could sit here and talk your ear off about just writing in general, but I don't know if everybody else is going to be super into that. What I wanted to say and get your opinion then though on this, because what I love about comics more than anything else is how it is a collaborative thing. And this feels very much that it wasn't, it's not just your words. It's not just Sam's art. It's both of them coming together. And that's what makes a comic book so good. So I just wanted to know of how this, because the story I heard was how you pitched this in the first place. That was very, very interesting to me, but a very good kind of comment that I've heard. I knew exactly when you brought up the Jonathan Hickman quote about write what your artist wants to. So I am stealing other stories you've told, but I just think it's interesting to kind of talk about the journey of at least how the Digger got, its start there then.
I mean, so I'm always looking for new artists to work with, especially at the beginning of my career. It's just trolling through ArtStation and DeviantArt and just trying to find artists who want to work in comic books. It's a struggle to even find someone to ask to work with you. So as I'm looking through, I found Sam's stuff. I went and read a lot of Russian comics, which is really hard to do. And I'm terrible at English, let alone Russian. But I was doing my best to try to fumble through because his art was so gorgeous. And I fumbled through a message in Russian going, hey, is there any chance I can pitch you something? And he happened to have heard of me. He liked some of the stuff that I was doing, and we were able to team up. And I wrote a bunch of pitches, and this is the part that you've heard. He hated them. He was like, these stink. I don't want to draw any of this. And so I thought I was going to give up, and he gave me a second chance to write him something that he would like. And I remembered Kirkman talking about this and Hickman, like, write what your artists want to draw, and it becomes your project. It becomes a team effort. It's not just your dream project that they're going to draw. They're not your hands, right? And so I asked him what he wanted to draw. He wanted to draw something in Mesoamerica, something pulpy. And I lied and said that I totally have something for that. I went home and I wrote a bunch of pitches now tailored to what he wanted to draw. And I came back, and one of those was just one sentence: what if Indiana Jones hunted Short Round? And he jumped on that immediately. He sent me back a bunch of concept art of these characters that he didn't even know existed yet. And it's been smooth sailing ever since. And that's why we're co-creators together. We both own the IP, and he's just as much of a storyteller as I am. He just happens to be way better at drawing things, but he helps me write everything. We come up with lots of ideas. He sent me an idea for a script the other day. It was just one word. It was, I don't want to spoil it, but it was an animal. He really wanted to see an animal in the book. And he said the animal ? And I was like, yeah, man, we'll put it in the script. Let's make this happen. And that's so much of the book is just, what would Sam want to draw?
See, and I absolutely love that. I don't know why, but it just makes me think of all the reading I've done, being, you know, just a giant comic book nerd, of like thinking of how, and obviously I know that the creative process between you guys is different, but it just makes me, hearing people be collaborative of that makes me think of the Marvel method of where Stan would just be like, hey, Jack, this is what I have. And so Jack would disappear for a weekend and come back with 26 pages, or, you know, having like, here's, and then, you know, Stan would go through and do all that. That is why I've always loved comics more, is because it does become then both people are able to tell that story together. And I love that. And I got a sense of that from the book.
There is zero good feelings in doing things you don't like to do. No. And so, you know, if I don't care what it is, if you're creating videos, or if you're making comic books, or you're writing a script or whatever, do what you love and your audience will find you. Just be consistent and keep doing it, you know? And I know Zach has heard me say that a million times to a million people, but it's so very simple and so very true. You know, you just keep doing what you love. The people will find you. They may not be around you. They may not even be in this town, because I know they're not here. But if you keep doing it, you'll find your group of people. The world is a really rough place right now. It's a really rough place right now, but if we can fill it with projects like this, it's so much easier. And I know easy is a relative term here, but it's so much easier to get your stuff in front of people at this point. Also, I'm going to interrupt you one more time, Zach.
You do it a lot on the show. I'm used to it.
Used to it, yeah. Also, think of all of the things that had to happen for him to hear of you and you guys to meet and then finally work together. I mean, it's fascinating.
It's hard not to believe in serendipity when some of these projects come up. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, how do you get an artist of Sam's caliber to be willing to work with you? I'm like, I don't know, be nice, offer to write something he wants to draw. It was that simple. And like, Sam's way better and has so much more going on for him when it comes to comic books than I did when I approached him. But I happened to, you know, be willing to write something that he wanted to draw and then follow it up with a script that was actually worth his time. That's the second part. You still have to be good at the job. You can't just be nice and go, I'll write whatever you want. You also have to then deliver. But it was in no small part thanks to me being willing to do that, because he gets a lot of emails often. He'll tell you, and so will a lot of the artists that I work with. Most people just message and go, hey, I have this awesome script that I want you to draw. It's my dream project. You're going to be lucky to be a part of it. I can't pay you anything right now to draw my dream project, but don't worry, I'm going to be the next Stan Lee. So if you can just draw these 200 pages of my magnum opus, it'll be worth it for you. And that's what every artist hears nonstop. So the fact that I come in and go, hey, what do you want to draw? Would you be willing to work with me? Let's see what we can do. I'm going to be pitching it here. This is the battle plan. Here's my stuff. If you like anything that I've read before, I can send you more. Just approach people like they're humans and do the best to be a little bit humble, because I promise you, you're no one compared to who they've heard of, especially when you're starting out in comics. It sucks to hear. No one wants to hear, well, you don't matter, but you don't. When James Tynion can put out 40 books a year and they're all smash hits, you're never going to compete with that. And you need to be aware of it. And that's okay. You don't have to be, but you need to be able to approach a room going, these people don't know or care who I am, and that's not their problem. That's mine.
This is going to sound really stupid when I start this analogy, but I promise there's a payoff here. It's kind of the Starbucks approach, right? It's they did it because they liked it and they were serving their community. Now you can think whatever you want to about them now because they have become a big multi-global corporation or whatever. But if you go and visit that original Starbucks store in Seattle, you can see where the love came from, and it's because they did what they liked and they kept doing it, and then they got lucky, and all of us can get lucky from time to time.
I have 2 kids. I've gotten lucky twice. Like, it
there
happens.
You go. That's it.
Like, if a schmo like me can do it, you can too. And like, that's when people talk to me, they're like, "Are you excited about working with Invader Comics? They're smaller. Wouldn't you want to work with someone bigger?" It's like no one was beating down my door to give me a publishing deal. And trust me, I asked. I had left the door open. They could just walk in whenever. They were not interested. So the fact that a real legit publisher with distribution was interested in my book meant the world to me. And I got really lucky that Invader Comics is on the rise. They're doing big stuff. They're only getting bigger now that they're in the Lunar catalog. And they still wanted to work with me. They wanted to work with me so bad that they were willing to put up stuff for us to do issues 2, 3, and 4 before they ever saw what else I was going to do with the story. They were willing to do that. And so, like, I count my lucky stars every single day because there's so many other books that they could have fronted and helped get out there and put into shops, and they chose ours for some reason.
Which is another great time to mention that. And go to your local comic book shops. Make sure to ask for the Digger coming in January. You have time still.
December 1st is the final order cutoff, so
there
you
we
have
go.
to ask for it before December 1st.
In a month, you got a month to go ahead and do it. I'm going to head over to our local place and do it because I absolutely enjoyed it, and I'm a guy who fully believes that obviously I should support what I do love, and it's great. TS was nice enough to send it and be on with us, but still, it is a great book. I wanted to ask though,
hey, when you get this, Zach, we should frame one and stick it in the background.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I have a. Well, I'll ask that question of you off here. I do have something to ask of you, but it won't work through here.
Listen, the answer is probably yes, especially because you've agreed right here on the mic to get 2 copies of both covers for several different people in your family too.
That's
and
true.
I really appreciate that.
Are there variants?
There's a variant cover, yeah, of course, man. Like, what year is this? Is it 1999? Like, no, you gotta have a variant cover for every book that comes out.
Are you guys still there? I think you cut off about the time you asked me to buy something. I don't.
Oh, Mike, always the curmudgeon. I do want to know though, with this book, and reading through it, because it is that question of what if Indiana Jones hunted Short Round, and there is a part at the end of issue 1. Where for me, I was just like, oh, like you kind of see, and same, and you just kind of like, there's these inkling that it gives you enough to like want to keep going. I wanted to know, just obviously without giving too much away, was there something that you were just like, that took inspiration from, or has there always been something in the back of your head when you've watched them and you thought, Indy might not be the best at guy all the time?
Well, so I had to say up front, I am an Indiana Jones fan. I don't watch that movie going, that guy sucks. Like, I love Indiana Jones. Like, it's always been there. I have always been a monster, though. So there has been a piece of me that's like, he could hunt somebody. He could hunt a kid. I could see him doing it. But a lot of it is when I agreed to do this story, when that's what Sam wanted. He wanted a story in Mesoamerica. I'm a middle-aged white dude from the Midwest. If I'm going to tell this story, I got to make sure it's a story that I should be telling. There's lots of people from Mexico and Mexican descent that should be telling that story. If I'm going to have an end to this story, what could it be? And when I think about Indiana Jones, I love that character. But if you put him in a realistic light, he's stealing stuff. He's a grave robber. He's a treasure hunter. It belongs to a museum, a white museum, very, very far away from where this stuff was found. So if you just put a little bit more of a realistic lens on there, okay, he's very clearly a bad guy. And how
he also didn't do anything to help that monkey.
He not even once.
He didn't do anything to help that monkey.
And he put Short Round in immediate danger. The first thing you see, they're already in trouble. So you it's just a tinge of extra reality. You don't have to push it that much farther. And I thought that would be a really fun idea. Plus, I'm an indie guy. There's not a lot of people giving me shots. It's really easy to pitch a sentence like that. Like, what if Indiana Jones hunted Short Round is just fun to talk about with people, and that makes them interested and go, all right, I'll click on the next paragraph. Like, let's see what he's talking about. So it really becomes that simple. But I also have to deliver on that. Like, if he's going to be a bad guy, he's got to be a bad guy. And it's a pretty easy shortcut in narratives to go, well, the kid's in trouble. Not many monsters, no matter how bad you are, is going to see a kid and go, I hope he gets got. And that's a challenge. You can prove me wrong by buying the book. You can prove to everybody that you're not a monster by buying the Digger.
The only argument I would have with you is the multiple Robins. I would like to see something happen to all of them. Yeah.
Dude, I have a book for you. It's called Hellion and Bash, and that's the main pitch of it.
Okay.
Mike is, it's funny that we get into this. Mike is very staunchly anti-Robin. We recently, for the month of before October, whatever month that was, September, I went through and basically we spent a week on each Robin. We skipped Stephanie Brown just because.
How dare you?
There's just not a lot of time. My argument was in story, it's like a month maybe.
Maybe that. Yeah. But she's in several Teen Titans issues that are really good. Like,
but she also becomes. And why am I blanking on? Not spoiler. Is she? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You nailed it.
Thank you. So there was another I felt the other. I felt the others were more just like always Robin in a way. So yeah, we focused on him, and he had something to say about each and every.
Yeah, I like to call it the dark month.
30 Days of Night, right there.
The Dark Knight. But
that was rough. Good job.
Thank you. You did bring it up, and I did want to ask this question too, and I feel like this is a natural place to do it. Then, with your other work,
like we're asking somebody questions.
Well, yeah, it makes sense to ask another one. No, but like what is it? Or I guess you're to the point where you've written a lot of different stories and stuff now. When you sit down with something like this, do you already, and you have your story, pacing has been something we've talked about just with different things here lately. And I was lucky enough, we're also putting on a audio drama that we have like at the company work for too.
Rad, man.
And so I talked to the writer of that, who she's working on season 3. And I'm like, all right, so pacing, like, how do you, like, you have this story, obviously you know how you're getting from A to Z. When you line that up issue wise, because this is just an inside baseball question, but something I've always wanted to know, like, are you sitting there of like, okay, this story mark is going to be 2, this will be the big thing for 3, and then we'll wrap it up with 4? Kind of like when you write that story, are you thinking that, or is it one you finish it and then you go back and you're like, okay, this could be issue 1, this could be issue 2, like that?
Well, much like you, I'm a giant comic book fan. I've been reading it my whole life. It's my favorite medium. I think about story in terms of cliffhanger page turns. And I was a student of Image Comics. Like, that was getting huge when I was a kid. And so if you read any issue of like Savage Dragon, like, it opens up with a giant double page spread, right? Like, you're going to get hit with as much art as possible. You're reading Spawn, same thing. And you want to end on a really cool reveal because it's a serial. You want them to pick up the next one. That's how I view it. That's how I pace it out. So when I have a really cool moment, a really good reveal, a good cliffhanger, I try to figure out, can I stop the issue here? Is there enough story in there that's entertaining? Did I tell enough of it for where the next one can pick up right there? That's how I separate them. So that's how I thought about the Digger all the way through. The reason why it's a 4-issue miniseries on top of me and Sam are nobodies, who's going to buy a 20-issue series from us? We could probably do 4 issues. On top of that was we have 3 really, really good cliffhangers that we can leave it on. And we think that's the story right there. So we do think about pacing in that way because I've been reading comic books my whole life. I wanted to end the same way when I got to issue, 6 of Invincible, going, holy crap, I got to get the next one.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it did feel that way. Like
awesome.
The cliffhangers that are no, exactly. Like I said, the cliffhangers that are there made me want to immediately read the next one then after, which is what I think good stories do. I have a bit of a deeper question for you.
Can I ask a question? I mean, I know I'm on the show too. So
my goodness, Mike, what do you want? Can you not see that I'm having a conversation? Go ahead.
I know you're very excited. Yeah,
I am. I'm sorry.
So I am interested, very, very interested in how the deal with the publisher came about.
Sure.
You said that they were very interested in it. And they gave you, they've given you everything they can, and that sort of thing. But like, how does that process even happen? Do you just look at a big list of publishers and go 1, 2, 3, start calling them all, or how does that work?
So as an indie comic book creator, I will say that is what we do. We do look at everybody, or at least I do, and that's what I tell people to do, is find out any publisher that has an open submission. Even if you think that you're probably not going to get in, get your books in front of those editors. Even if they're just going to say no, that's okay. Get them to know who your name is. So I do that. I have a gigantic list. It's gotten really small these days, but I have a list of all the publishers who are willing to take an open submission. Now, when it came to Invader, it was actually a little bit of a different process. I was really excited about their book Darla from Josh Rubens, the director of Hard Eyes and Werewolves Within. I'm a big fan of his. He said he was putting out a comic book, and I found out who the publisher was. I had never heard of him. I went and got everything that they ever did because I saw they had an open submission policy. I pitched them Tokyo Fire, which was one of my first big indie comic books, and they were not interested, but they were very kind about it. So I kept that in the back of my mind. That's a place that will at least respond to me. When The Digger was done and ready to pitch, we weren't even sure we were going to pitch it to anybody because we hadn't had much luck at publishers, and we were ready to crowdfund it basically day one. And then they were on TikTok. I'd asked some of my fans, where do you want to see me pitch stuff? I did a little series where I put out fake trailers for my comic books and said, where do you think I should send them? And which ones do you think are worth sending? And the one that got an overwhelming response was The Digger. They loved it. They were like, I want to read this right now. And one of my followers, a good fan of mine, was like, hey, there's this place called Invader Comics. I really think you should pitch there. They're open to books like yours from comic book creators that no one's ever heard of. They were doing a contest called Stitch Pitch Fridays, where you just have to stitch their thing on TikTok, make a little duet video, and show them your trailer. So I did that while also sending their submissions, and they responded immediately to my trailer going, oh, we've heard of The Digger, because they had seen my submission the week before. So on Friday, I had pitched them the book, and on Monday, I had a publishing deal. That's how that went down. It was the only place where I ended up pitching The Digger.
That is fascinating. Because again, I didn't even know you had trailers for comic books. You know, I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, that's. I mean,
it's a thing that I do. I don't know if everybody does that, but I get bored.
No, I think it works.
I mean, they saw it.
Right. It worked, and it's worked since then. I've pitched a couple other publishers stuff since, and that's how I've done it now, to the point where like I've learned how to edit trailers much better.
Yeah.
I have very expensive editing software that I've put money into. Instead of doing another comic book, I was like, well, let's learn how to actually do this right. And so far, it's worked out for me.
So what do you have on the back burner now?
Like comic books?
Yeah.
I have about 14 series. Which one you want to talk about that no one's ever heard of?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like I'm so here's the thing you got to know about me is every meeting seems like an opportunity to me. So I'm always looking for something. And Zach brought up the fact that we do Hellhound Country, which is audio fiction, drama, a little sci-fi kind of thing. Maybe a little horror mixed in, but it's really our first foray into that kind of thing. Yeah, we're going to do a companion series for a TV show that's starting because we happen to have somebody on our crew that is lucky enough to be making a TV show.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so that kind of stuff. So I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what are the other projects that you could possibly be working on, and have you already pitched them to tons of people, and how's that going?
I haven't pitched as much lately because of the Invader deal. However, the Invader deal has opened up some doors for me to where publishers would ignore my emails. Now some of them are actually opening them. I see the read receipts. I know you're looking at them, and they've actually been
that catch-22 thing, right? Where they want you to have experience, but you don't have experience, right?
Exactly. That's you know, it's the Ouroboros tale. It's like, to get the job, you need to have had the job. But I've now had the job, and I've put out stuff consistently, so they're more willing. The problem is with comic books is you need to have, especially at my level, you need to have them completed. You can't do what Image Comics says you can, which is have 7 pages and a cover and just pitch us the general idea. If you're James Tynion, you can do that. I am not. So I need to have a whole book finished. Luckily, I've been at this for a few years, and I have some really good friends who create art. I have several books just sitting on a shelf behind me, ready to be pitched to places, and that's what I'm starting to do. I had a few publishers who wanted to work with me last year. They wanted to meet with me at Motor City Comic Con. That's the big one here in Michigan, and I was too small. I hadn't tabled anywhere. They wouldn't let me go to Motor City Comic Con. I couldn't get a table. I couldn't pay them to have a table there, so I missed those meetings. So this year was my side quest of learning how to table. I was at farmers markets and libraries, and I went to a few small cons. I've earned my spot at this Comic-Con, And so I'm hoping to pitch to a few more publishers there. But really, it depends on how well the Digger sells. That's the pragmatic approach is right now, is if the Digger comes out, it sells well, and I get nominated for a Ringo or something, then listen, you're going to hear about me nonstop. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be back there, feet to the grindstone, pitching whatever I can.
Yeah. Selling car parts.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Sure.
Writing about them. They wouldn't let me sell them. I have a face for
okay.
So.
Yeah. There's a very hard line between those two worlds, I'm sure.
Right.
I saw. Did the Ringo Awards start following you?
And maybe they followed me. Maybe it was a fake burner account, but it was really cool and completely not indicative of anything that really matters. The social media person saw that I posted a thing about my indie comic book, but those are the little things that are really excited to an indie guy like me, because I wasn't sure anyone would want to read one of my comic books, let alone being able to go into a shop and pre-order it. So it's all big moves, and anything small is huge to me. So I would love to do that. I don't know if it amounts to anything.
I got you. Yeah. It was still cool news to do. T.S. Luther, comic book writer here with us on Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I got to do the sports thing of you got to reset every now and then.
Right. They're just tuning in.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're just joining us, just a few more questions though before we let you go.
Do they tune into things?
Yeah, I don't know why they would come in halfway through a YouTube video.
It seems like you need a different word other than tune in.
Well, turn on. I don't know. So for the month of November, what I am putting Mike through is I'm actually going through just different creators and stuff that I'm kind of thankful for in a way. It's books that I've read that have done, like a lot of things for me, or artists and creators that have affected me in some way. I know this is going to be. Yeah, no, I've been a comic fan since I was a little kid, and I used it to escape at times. Obviously, they're great for that, growing up. And so I always felt like there was this big, deeper love to the stories and stuff because of all that. And then I got older, and I went away from a bit. And oddly enough, it was Tom King's Mr. Miracle, the 12-issue series, that pulled me back in. And it was one of those of where, as an adult, I read it. And I remember thinking, oh, I've never had anything hit me like this. Not even just book wise, but comic book wise, book wise, art wise, anything.
Right.
And it reinvigorated me to just go back and read all this stuff that I missed. And I got to go back and see, oh yeah, Alan Moore, even though he hates comics now, the dude could write the Swamp Thing. I mean, not just even Watchmen. I'm talking the prose and stuff. And exactly. And so I went back, just all these artists. And so I'm going through right now, even, some that are more newer. And then I don't think people know it, like Daniel Warren Johnson, who I absolutely love.
DWJ is incredible.
So I have my list of all these greats that obviously haven't the Transformers run. I'm currently reading. I know I'm very behind. I read other things first. I'm reading Murder Falcon right now.
Murder Falcon is also incredible, and so is Dual Powerbomb. Let's just list DWJ stuff. He's way more talented than me. Let's
no. But we've actually covered Dual Powerbomb on here, and I loved it. It's great. But so I ask all that, and I
that art is actually a little close to the stuff you've got, isn't it?
It's not dissimilar. I won't say that's exactly the same, but Sam definitely, you can tell, has read Dual Powerbomb.
There's the kineticness kind of
right. I just love the word. I love the scratchiness.
I love the loose stuff. That's almost, it's like a level up from a sketch. That's what some of my favorite. It's the same reason why I love Jorge Corona's art. It's incredible. I love all the detritus you see on the side of the panels and stuff.
All my long-windedness just to say. Who is it for you? What are, when you think about oh, that might have been the book that influenced me some, or oh, that might have been the artist, or just curiosity.
There's so many, because I love so many comic books, but the big ones that hit me when I was younger was Robert Kirkman. Finding Invincible, way too young to be reading Invincible, was incredible for me. Dan Slott reinvigorating Amazing Spider-Man was another big one. Finding Civil War, so everybody who wrote stuff for Civil War was a big thing, because I only ever read Archie's Double Digest before that. And so coming in and seeing that big event was a big game changer for me.
Still one of my favorites.
Dude, it's so good. And then when Michael Avon Oeming did the Victories, that was the first time, other than Invincible, that I saw that superheroes could tell heavy stories. And I was an adult when I found that, and that changed the game. That's when I started writing comic books, even though no one had seen them for a long, long time. That's when I saw, okay, there's a path through here that I could tell these types of stories. So that was a big inspiration to me. I've had the chance to talk to Michael before, and he's like a big hero of mine. So those are some of the past ones. Currently, stuff from like DWJ, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Torrin Grunbeck. Like, I'm obsessed with so many of these. Everything that Tiny ever puts out, I read. And then that's all just, those are writers. That's not even to mention all of the art that I'm obsessed with. I have so much like Sean Murphy stuff just like strewn about my room. I could keep going on, but there's not many current comic book writers and artists working today that I don't idolize in some way, because they're doing the thing that I want to be doing. And I love that we don't chew them up and spit them out like we used to. I love that people get to stay in the game a lot longer. And I know it's still not easy and they're all hustling, but the fact that they get to still make comic books is incredible, because for a long time, it was such a small window to get paid. And then you were fired and gone. And good luck with everything, you know? Yeah. You got a pat and then a kick. And the fact that they get to still do it is just incredible to me. So I can keep naming names all day, but those are some big ones for me.
Yeah, no, I was just curious to make sure you know. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I cut you off.
The fact that you brought up the fact that they just do it. That's a big thing to me also. Like my buddy and I, we talk about it all the time, you know. It's super easy to sit behind this keyboard and make fun of things or dismiss things or whatever. But you know the difference between the dude sitting behind the keyboard and the guy that made a thing. He made a thing.
Right.
You know, you didn't make a thing. So stop being so harsh on these guys. Even bad movies, somebody made it. You know,
people put their heart and soul behind that. That's why you'll never talk about the stuff I don't like. Right. I only ever talk about the stuff I do like, because I still respect those ones, and I don't want to have to say the bad things about it. I didn't mention Scotty Young, who I've completely aped his entire look, but I love Scotty Young as well. The reason why I say that is because I look over at all of the chibi art that I have over here from all of his baby covers.
I do love some of those,
boxes, man.
The Tiny Titan stuff, I think. I think they did that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, because I enjoyed the work a lot, and I'm always interested in knowing.
I swear I'm listening. I'm just looking for something.
No, you're fine. It's good. You want to interrupt me? But I just want to know, like, what gets people into that same place, because obviously we all end up being a fan of a lot of the same stuff, and I'm just always like interested of like, well, how'd you get here? And everybody's story is different, though, and that's what makes comics as a whole, at least to me, so much better. Like a lot of times on our show, and I might kind of touch on it, and I'll do it too. We focus sometimes on a lot of just silly, just Silver Age and Golden Age stuff. And like I say it a lot of times when we do it, we know when we're going into this was written for kids. Like I understand that when I do it, but there's something about even just
Superman
the goofiness. Yeah, even just the goofiness of it that is still so, I don't know, like great. So even the stuff that I wouldn't even call it trap, but you know, like we kind of poke fun a little bit, because let's face it, the writers in the 50s, Mort Weisinger had no clue what Lois Lane wanted to do. They just all thought she wanted to marry Superman. They didn't know how to write a woman, and so it's a lot of, you know, it's bad stuff. But
that's all women wanted in the 50s. Don't you know that?
Yeah, but I mean, but it's still enjoyable stuff, and more than anything, it's still stuff that I look back and I think that can be learned from. Like you can understand, oh, I get why they did this. Oh, I understand.
You got to be reading the old stuff. You can't just read what's new, and you can't just read the best of the best. Like you need to read everything. You got to have input to have output, and you got to see where it came from. Like I'm a firm believer, go back and do that stuff, and you can see the nostalgia play in some of these things. Like World's Finest is a great example of going back to Silver Age silliness and seeing just how much fun can be had there. Like, oh, Supergirl can just fly really fast and go back in time. Are we going to explain that? Nah, don't worry about it. Let's just do it. Let's just have fun here. And they do that so well. And there's so many comic books that do that stuff. I've been loving what Mad Cave has been doing, going back to like Dick Tracy, Speed Racer, The Phantom, things that I'm like, no one would ever care. I'm the only person who cares about The Phantom. And now it's one of the biggest series coming out. And I love some of that stuff. You gotta read Golden Age and Silver Age stuff. What are you doing if you're not? Exactly. Why else do we have all these pirate websites that you can go find everything on? If you're not going to go and buy the Digger, at least go and read some of these old books.
So
exactly.
the thing I was looking for is a business card, and it kind of typifies or represents what we're talking about here, right? You do the things you love, and you just hope you find the audience. You just keep going at it. I was lucky enough to interview Lloyd Kaufman, like the guy who started Troma. A few weeks ago.
Rad.
Yeah, he actually came here and sat in my studio, and I was able to interview him. But that guy typifies everything we've been talking about. You do what you love, you do it for the least amount of money you possibly can, and you hope that people find it.
Right,
that's really all there is to it.
And I really wish more people would see that when it comes to breaking into comic books. I talk to a lot of young artists who go, I want to work with you. Here's my page rate. And I'm like, dude, that's super rad. I can't pay that. But I wish you luck. But a lot of them will hold out. They're like, well, this is what Marvel pays. And I'm like, it actually isn't. I pay more than what most Marvel artists will pay you. Because that's just not how it works. There's not a lot of money to be had here until you're a big name. And it's hard to get to that point. And sadly, it's a pay-to-play industry. So if you really want to do it, make sure you can afford to. Make sure you can afford to do the pay-to-play. It costs a lot of money to get artwork done. If you do happen to be, by the luck of the gods, you can get the book made, you then still got to get it printed and shipping it out to people. And that stuff is expensive. And if you don't have people to back you on it, it's going to take a lot of time and patience. So I just hope people know, please don't go into comics hoping to make a lot of money, especially just purely in the indie space, because there's nothing here. We're all tapped out. The Rock has already bled dry,
Yeah, it's not the reason to go into it, and that's what the ultimate lesson is here. It's just not the reason to go into stuff.
Everyone deserves to get paid for their labor, and I wish all these awesome people got paid way more than they do. And God, I would love a paycheck. It would be grand. But it just, sadly, this isn't where it is. So make sure that if you're going to try for comics, you're not doing it to get money because there's not here. Do it for the love of comics. Then you might be able to get a paycheck eventually.
Yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely a great point, because we've been doing everything that we've done here purely out of love for a long time. I think
you
that
mean
sums
not
up...
millionaires? Why am I
No,
in this conversation?
well,
I was
hold
told
on.
I'd be able to get a paycheck for this.
See, I think that email response you got must
you
have
guys
been from
keep
that same
cutting out
Reddit
on me.
page
I don't know
just
where
brought
you
up.
went.
No, but I appreciate the conversation so much. I want to give you one more chance to, instead of me just talking,
one last chance.
No, of you, because I feel like I don't do a good enough job of selling it the way that you do. So I wanted to let you actually give us the good hard sell.
Awesome. I can definitely do that. Hi, my name's TS and I write comics, and I would love for you to check out The Digger. It's basically what if Indiana Jones hunted short round. If you like movies like Indiana Jones or games like Uncharted, this could be the book for you. If you're also a monster and you want to see how bad it can get for this little kid as he takes this dangerous treasure hunter on a trip through Veracruz, Mexico in the 1930s looking for Olmec ruins. So if you like cat and mouse thrillers, if you like treasure hunting stories, if you like those old pulpy action movies that you caught at 4 a.m. when your grandpa forgot to turn the TV off and he's sitting there in his recliner falling asleep and you're watching The Sorcerer, you can really enjoy The Digger. It's only 4 issues because no one would give us more. So you don't have to worry about catching up to issue 56. Invader Comics is publishing it with just 4 issues and then a trade. So you can go and check that out, and you can pre-order it right now at your local comic book shop until December 1st, 2025. If this is 2026, you missed your chance. I'm out on the streets because you didn't pre-order it. My kids don't have food in their bellies because you didn't want to buy the book. So please go and pre-order it. I'm not a famous guy. I'm not Robert Kirkman. I'm not James Tynion. I'm nobody. So if you don't go and pre-order it, you're not going to find it in your shops on January 14th. So please, you can see how desperate I am. You can see how gaunt this is. I'm fading away underneath this beard because I put all of my heart and soul and money, lots of money, into The Digger. So please go and prove Invader Comics right and pre-order it today at your local comic book shop.
You've lost 2 pounds while we were talking to you.
You could see me wasting away over here.
Yeah,
I will argue against that. You are not a nobody, sir. I think that this is going to be. It's
Tell
really
everybody you know.
I'm saying I loved it. I'm not just saying that to say it. I thought it was a fantastic comic, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. I also wanted to let you know, anytime you want to come on and talk about anything else, feel free to. We're here anytime. It's as simple as you just say it, and we're here.
I love talking about comic books. I could chat with you guys all day. I miss podcasting. I used to do it, and I used to play in radio plays. That's what I did in high school. One of my mentors was he's in the Country Hall of Fame, Bob Edwards. So it's here in Michigan, and so like I used to do a lot of radio stuff. So this is just a blast for me. Every time that you go into the ESPN cadence and you go to talk radio, and I was like 14 minutes of whatever this long-winded question is going to be is just nostalgia rolling over me as I had to like time the button going, all right, Bob, we have commercial in 2 minutes. Like, so this has just been awesome. I would love to come on here and I can sell all my indie comics that I make tens of dollars on. So like, I can really help you out with all of my 40 fans and just make sure that this little radio show that could get some play.
If you ever wanted to turn one of those into an audio version of any of those stories that you think don't have a shot, let me know.
Oh, dude, always, man.
And I would love to work with you on something like that.
Ditto, man. Like, I love radio dramas, and that was a lot of what I was doing when I was working on the car parts before I pivoted to comic books. Is I hosted a podcast network, and we were working on some scripted content, and it just my passion for it was there, but having the bandwidth to do everything, you had to kind of select a lane, and I did comics, you know?
Yeah, I get it. And audio dramas are hard too, simply because monetizing those things it's a feat in and of itself.
Can you do that? Can you monetize it? I mean, like, you got like the Magnus archives. End of the list of what can really make money in the podcast space.
Well, to me, as far as audio dramas go, I think your money is in merch and touring. And those sorts of
across the board and everything, right? Yeah. Like, I don't make any money off comics, but if you buy my stickers, oh man,
that's it.
Breaking it in.
You got it.
TS, I can't thank you enough, sir. Appreciate the time. Appreciate you spending it with us and the fantastic work that you're doing that I am looking forward to going and pre-ordering and getting ready to figure out what happens with this kid, because I'm very invested. And I can't thank you enough for hopping on with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, dudes. This has been a blast. Please let me come on and bother you again. And please go and pre-order The Digger. I will be immensely appreciative, especially since these guys both pledged to order at least 1,000 copies.
Yeah.
And that was just so kind of them.
I'm sorry. Hello? Hello?
I think after you made the joke the third time, it's not as funny.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, listen, what jokes? It's so funny that you assumed that this was sarcasm, because I appreciate your earnestness with when you told me that in that email.
Sure.
That I had signed by a notary and my lawyer. So I just appreciate you.
I'm going to send you a copy of my birth certificate, and you can judge whether or I should be making those sort of decisions or not at this age. So.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close out our episode too. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time out to watch and listen. Thank you for all the comments, all the emails, everything we can appreciate. We appreciate it so much. Can't thank you guys enough. Make sure to check out all the other great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts. And until next time,
RogueMediaNetwork.com. You didn't give me a chance.
Sorry. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Hey, TS, I need you to say something.
Oh, what do I got to say?
Can you say Golly Con?
Golly Con.
There it is.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
That man had the eyes of the devil. Run. Don't walk.
We must leave this place.
No. We dig. This October, to your local comic book shop. Tell them the digger is coming.